What if I made a mistake? What if I regret it? What if I never recover from this? What should I do next? But what if I win? What if I get the kind of life I've always wanted? What if everything gets 100 times better and I look back and realize this is the best decision I've ever done? Hi, I'm Yeri, and I just handed over my resignation letter, and I have about 4 weeks to get my life together. Basically, if you haven't watched my first video, I quit when I realized I was about to be laid off to save my sanity and have a longer time to prepare myself financially. But the thing is, like any other human being, I am scared. I have been sending in job applications for the past few days, but I haven't received any email yet. And I know it's very early to overthink it, but day by day, I feel like there is this pitch black darkness behind me that is getting closer and closer to devour me. It is not a new feeling. I know everyone at some point in their lives faced the crossroad and felt scared of what lies ahead or what path to choose. After all, losing a job is a major life disruption, and the fear that follows is completely normal. But I know that there is a big difference between treating it like the end of the world or taking it as an opportunity to start a better life. So here are my final thoughts in my final days of working in my corporate job. I'll be talking about the biggest lessons I am learning in this experience, how to overcome fear after losing a job, and my game plan. First, think about the reason why people are showing up to work every day even if they would rather just stay at home and sleep in. Right, to get through the day, pay the bills, and survive. But honestly, nobody wants to do all that just for the sake of barely surviving. People work to build a better future for themselves, for their family, and ultimately to build a life where they can be truly happy. Happiness. If you look at the world deeply, everything is leading to the pursuit of happiness. Entertainment, commercial, politics, religion. At the end of each active effort, people expect happiness. With that in mind, you really would wonder why people are choosing to suffer in doing the things that are not giving them happiness. Well, the sad truth is, happiness is closely tied to privilege, and for some people, privilege is earned through suffering today in hopes of trading this suffering for happiness in the future. But truly, if we strip down layer by layer the roles we assume, the unwritten rules, the limiting beliefs, the societal expectations, and be our realest self like when we were children, happiness is simple. Happiness is learning your favorite colors and sounds for the first time ever. Happiness is having good food and soft bed. Happiness is making a new friend or taking care of a cat or a dog. But how many of adults have worked their whole lives only to realize that happiness really is just that simple? There is a fine line between perceived happiness and genuine happiness, and this line is even more and more blurred out as we get older. It's ironic to think that the more we understand the world, the less we know ourselves. Genuine happiness can stem from you and you only, but perceived happiness is what we think we need, and that's where losing a job becomes so scary and depressing. What's really sad for the majority of ordinary people, most of the time, these same people are the ones trapped in chasing the perceived happiness all their lives because they could not let go of the job that was so draining they lost their sense of self. I am part of the ordinary, but I refuse to be the majority. People who have had the chance to explore who they are deep inside, they know what genuine happiness looks like uniquely to them, and they move using that as the compass. The difference between successful people and the people trying to be successful is simple. Successful ones know that success looks different for everyone. So is happiness. So if you really think about it, while losing a job is scary, this time off is actually a great opportunity that saves you a lot of time and disappointment, because somewhere down the line, you will inevitably be questioning whether you're happy or not. So now, I like to see this brief amount of time that I have in my hands as a chance to assess myself, strip down to the real me, and see what my kind of happiness looks like and plan my next steps according to that. Well, of course, it's still normal to feel fear, especially if you're stepping into the unknown. But how I manage to overcome my fear is by fully allowing myself to feel it. What I mean by that is understanding why I feel fear. Fear is not entirely a bad thing. It's an important feeling that warns us of danger. But excessive irrational fear is what you would want to shush. Recognize when your mind spirals into the worst case scenarios. Counter these thoughts objectively. For example, instead of thinking, I will never find a job again, change the thought into, I have dealt with a lot of hard situations before and I can do it again. Time is the enemy of ambition. When a plan sits untouched, the natural forces of doubt, hesitation, and daily distractions eat away at your initial drive. That is why I immediately took necessary steps to re-establish my daily routine and treat job hunting like a manageable, scheduled project to regain sense of control. Because I noticed that if I spend all of my free hours looking for a job, I feel like my hope slowly evaporates even if there is no problem yet. So I block my time and stick to what I schedule to be time for job hunting. After that, I make sure that I am allotting time to get to know myself deeper and build another basic income stream temporarily, because let's be real, the bills won't stop coming just because we lost an income stream. I only have 4 weeks to figure out how to pay my deposit and rent, plus all of the expenses that I will be needing in this transition. Payroll will stop coming after August 15, but just like what some people might argue that I can't change the reality just by being positive about it, nothing will also change if I focus on my negative thoughts, so why would I add suffering to my pain? Also, like what I said earlier, in this time of uncertainty, it's very important to fully assess yourself and know what your own definitions for success and happiness looks like. Because all those years of doing your usual job must have had an impact to your identity, and very easily you could think that you are nothing beyond your professional role or your job. That is not true. You are an individual, an amazing human being with your own set of thoughts and unique set of skills that are yours and yours alone. And if you realize that your worth is not attached to any title or any human-made roles, you will absolutely be able to find a job even if you don't like how their role will make you look like. You are you, whatever you do, so drop the ego, because honestly, what is there to fear when you are sure that it is you that adds value into everything you do? Not a grander, fancier job title or big salary should be the ceiling of your worth as a person. Temporarily, you can just build a financial safety net, and as you learn more about yourself and what success means to you, pursue that passion, pursue that dream. Another thing that is helping me overcome this scary, giant darkness behind my back is thinking about the future. There are millions of possible outcomes for every single decision we make, but when I think about the two outcomes parallel to each other, one is the future where I could have stayed in my previous job, and the other one is where I achieve the life I want. It's very clear to me that they cannot be in the same future. Staying in a job that is constantly draining your happiness will drain every other positive aspect of your life. And who you become without your positive traits will affect the people around you. Your friends and family and future family will benefit or suffer depending on who you become. And staying in an environment that brings out the worst in you is not worth it, no matter how much money is on the line. You simply cannot choose to risk your whole life and your relationships with the people you love over this fear of the unknown. So what now? What is the game plan? This part will look different for you, but for me, I have never been more excited than I am now ever in my life. There are doors in your life that you missed because you are too zoomed in into doing just one thing every day. But this time off that I have is like zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. A few years ago, I registered a small business but ended up being in the back shelves of my mind because of my 9 to 5. I have also been putting off my plans of sharing my thoughts in front of a camera, document my life, and help other people like me at the same time through starting a YouTube channel. But here we are now, and I have all the time in the world. I am still in the process of defining my own happiness, but you will see exactly how I find it. Turns out, losing a job is not that scary like how I imagined it to be. I am glad that I have the realizations that I have right now that I wouldn't have learned if I didn't get through the situation. Bad thing about fear, it is an overwhelming force in your mind. And good thing about it, it is in your mind. It means you can control it. Everything is a learning experience, and from this moment forward, I'll be sharing all my learnings with you as transparent as possible so you can learn through me and we can grow together. That is the game plan. Thank you for watching up to this part of the video, and if you're in the same situation, I believe you and I can get through this and find what really actually makes us happy.